Hello, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. It's a beautiful day in Tampa right now. Today, actually, we are going to be going up at 90s, which is hot. I wasn't too excited about that. Like, we were in the 70s and the weather it was delicious. You can just walk outside and be nice. But today, I haven't even been outside because I know it's hot. So today I'm so excited because I have a special guest today. And I always wanted to learn more about yoga, right? So I am a personal trainer, and I always tell everybody talks to me and say, you know what? I am obsessed with exercising and lifting weights and running and stuff like that. But a lot of people is not into that, right? Like a lot of people is I don't like the lifting weights. I don't like running, and you don't have to like that, right? So you have to find something that you love to do, right? Like the main thing here and the point is that you find something that you love that makes you feel good and keeps you active. So you have to find your gigs. Like if you like swimming, just go for swimming classes. If you like tennis, go for tennis classes. If you like, I don't know, yoga, you have to go into yoga. And actually my husband and I, that's our main goal, right? Our lives are so busy right now. We have our jobs, we have our businesses, we have, hello Beatles, hello Maggie. We have our businesses, but we have heard, I think yoga is a very popular thing. And we literally, yoga has a meaning. A lot of people like to say it's just stretching, like I used to, just stretch your body. You have to breathe, but I don't know the main meaning of yoga. So I have this amazing woman that I met in the internet. She's from Canada. So we're gonna wait until she logs in. Let me see if she's here. She's not here yet, but so we connected and I just love her energy. I think we have been following each other for a year now or more. I don't even remember. But her home feed is full of positive stuff. She coaches online. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to message her and I'm going to ask her if she can come and talk more about what does yoga mean and what can we do to be more mindful. And one of her, I'm going to be presenting her. So I am going to share, I just want to share this live on my homepage. So hold on one second. I just want to see how this works. I usually do it from a phone, but my phone is not working right now. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do it for my laptop. So let's see, share. All right. I think I did it. All right. So Julie, if you are here, please comment in there. Comment in here so I can bring you on camera because I don't think you are here yet. Let's see. I hope we're in the same time zone. I believe she's in Canada. So let's see. Let me find her right here. So what I was telling you, so she is a online, there you go, an online coach. She's an author. She's here, all right. So let me bring her out so she can literally tell us all about her. Let's see. There we go. This is easy, actually. Last I done, I had so much trouble bringing them. This was. Hi, Julie! Yes, I am so excited you are here. I was telling everybody how we just we follow each other, I think, for a year now.
We have.
And yes, and I just loved her energy. I don't physically meet her, know you, but I just feel like I know you. It's just all your homepage, your Instagram, all your accounts is just feel positive stuff. And I don't know, I just love your vibe, like we said. And before we start, I was explaining how it's I'm a personal trainer, right? So I always tell my people that I stumble in life and say, you don't have to like weights. not all the people is into running. Like people like, oh my gosh, I don't like running. Not everybody's like, oh, I want to go and lift weights. Like that is my passion, but not everybody has. And I think it's this misconception, like you have to go to the gym and lift weights and be rough. No, it's like not everybody has to like that. So you have to find something that inspires you and keeps you moving and keeps you healthy. And yoga is one of the ways for you to be healthy and mindfulness. And I was saying that my husband and I, one of our goals, our lives are so busy right now, but it's to learn more about yoga because we know it's so good for you. But maybe like we think yoga is like stretching your body and that's it, right? You have to stretch and breathe in and breathe out, but it's more into that. So I am so grateful you are here and I want to learn everything about you. So first of all, I wanted to introduce you, but why don't you just literally tell us who you are and what do you do?
Well, thank you so much for having me today, Deni. I'm so excited to be here. It is like such an honor. And again, you and I connected some time ago, and I think it's just become this mutual love affair between the two of us in terms of vibe and energy and again, what we choose to put out there into the world relative to our social media platforms is you know, showing up, being in service, making a difference with, you know, what our gifts are in this world, and assisting others so that they can step into their optimal state of being to make their impact and make their difference. So, you know, I am a yogi. That is my passion. It is how I show up and serve in the world. My focus oftentimes is working with clients that are struggling with pain specifically, be it in their physical body and or their mental, emotional being. They're often interrelated. And so I support my clients by providing them with a number of different doorways through which they can move to explore the practice. And, you know, oftentimes in North America, we have this perception that yoga is solely about movement and the postures.
I was one of those.
And the asana. I was one of those too at one point. You know, I was an athlete in my younger years. All I comprehended was harder, stronger, faster. It was, yoga was, you know, I dabbled in it a couple of times, didn't really get it, kept going with the harder, stronger, faster. And then one day I was participating in a group class, and it was just a bit of a tipping point for me. And I really began to embrace this idea that less, in fact, can sometimes be more. And that, you know, playing in the realm of moderation, even though we may explore the extremes of our physicality and our mental, emotional well-beings and, you know, our sense of adventure and the things that we participate in, rarely are we served well if we hang out in the extremes of existence and life and experience. It's just not sustainable. But if the vast majority of the time, kind of that 80-20 rule, we're hanging out in that place of moderation where we recognize that when we work and we effort, we also need to restore and rejuvenate. And that it is, again, this yin and yang experience. Yin and yang in yoga is literally the oppositions, right? And we don't, too much yin is not necessarily a good thing. That means we're lethargic. We might be having a hard time getting our butts off the couch. And if we're yanging too much, we might be in too high of an energized state, and we're resonating and we're vibrating at this high state and sustaining it there. And that doesn't necessarily serve us well either. So what I love about yoga, and I think why it has become such a huge part of my life and my way of making a living even, is it allows us to address the whole being. So, and oftentimes as we move through our days and through our lives, we tend to perceive ourselves as these fragmented beings. We are a physical body and we address the physical body. And some of us may have more or less awareness of our mental, emotional state of being, and that it too requires attention and nurturing. So then we compartmentalize that aspect of ourselves as if it's separate from our physical being and energy. Our breath is a layer of our being, and breath is life force energy. It is what sustains us. And so we breathe, but oftentimes we don't do so consciously. It just happens, but we don't realize, are we breathing in deeply through the nose to fill our belly, exercise the diaphragm, bring expansion to the rib cage and the chest? Are we exhaling fully and releasing the toxicity, the carbon dioxide, and maintaining healthy levels of CO2 in our bloodstream? We are also energetic beings, and that is reflected in the chakra system. And I know we were going to chat a little bit about the chakras, and the chakras are in essence your energetic blueprint, and fascinating to explore your health and well-being from that perspective. And then we're these soulful beings. We are here to serve a broader purpose that is bigger than who we are. It's whatever you want to call that, spirit, soul, source, whatever that is for you. It's that part of yourself that, again, is bigger than who you are. And it tends to be about your deep-seated purpose and passion and what it is you're really meant to do here, which in really literally our purpose is to be here to serve and to support one another. We're stronger together, right? And we don't need to move through this crazy ride of life alone, and yet sometimes we feel that we're in that isolation. So really this idea of yoga and how I work with my clients is to move from that fragmented perspective of self and to begin to see yourself as this whole, beautiful, magnificent, integrated being. And when you begin to see yourself whole, you begin to heal yourself whole. And you begin to invite balance and integration. So each of those layers, those 5 layers of being, breath, physicality, mental, emotional well-being, energetic being, and soulful being, they're all inextricably linked. So a vulnerability in one of those layers of being is going to manifest and reflect in the other layers of our being. So if you think of somebody who may struggle with chronic pain, oftentimes once we've been sitting in pain for a significant amount of time, our mental emotional health and well-being is compromised significantly. One of 2 things might happen. We might experience go into depression because we're no longer able to enjoy life in the things we were doing, to the degree that we might be not doing it at all because we're completely immobilized. And that's hard. It's hard on the mind, and we can fall into that funk. We could go in the opposite direction and move into anxiety, nervous systems that are resonating at far too high of a level that's simply not sustainable, and that can invite that stress response and anxious response. So again, the whole key is yoga is so much more than just the movement of our bodies. And the movement of the body is amazing and wonderful. And I love the physical practice of yoga. I love moving my body. We say this, if you stop moving, you stop moving, right? And you
Your
would know
body
that.
literally will adapt to no movement. And when you want to
Yes.
move again, it's going to be harder. So the
Yes.
more you wait to move, it's going to be hard. Like, it doesn't matter what age you are. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Even if you're young, if you don't move,
Yes.
your body is just going to like literally stay that way. And it's
Yes.
going to be
And
harder.
we're meant to move, our joints, our movements, we're meant to be active. And of course, the way life has evolved, and our life at desks and at computers and with our phones, and it's certainly, we are compelled to be at rest more often. So we have to be, in many ways, we need to be very mindful of how we're spending our time. We need to plan for how it is that we are going to move our bodies. So yoga is a wonderful way to move the body. It can be very gentle and very kind. I certainly appreciate or approach, my practice with clients from a very, what I call, kind movement perspective. And that is, understanding how to move in your body so that it feels great. And that when you're moving in your body, you know that it's serving you well, and that it's going to continue to serve you well, so that you can do your practice as you age, and you are not doing any long-term, creating any long-term injury because of repetitive movement. So there's ways that we can move in our body very, very kindly. And that's certainly the approach I take. is with, particularly if we're dealing with pain and discomfort, be it physically or mentally, emotionally, we need to nudge those edges of discomfort and pain. If we kick the door down, it might bring us some immediate short-term gratification, but oftentimes it doesn't serve us well in the long run. So it's really about nudging these edges so we can create space for breath to flow. So we can create space for musculature and connective tissue to relax and find space. So that is sort of the philosophy of it, is, again, addressing and seeing yourself as this whole beautiful integrated being that you are, moving away from this fragmented perception as if our mental emotional health is somehow different from our physical health. It's all one and the same. It's all one and the same. And so that for me is definitely the appeal of yoga. And there are other activities such as Tai Chi or Qigong or things like that, again, that incorporate sort of the intention and the mindfulness that is so important, and mindfulness is really key, because I often sort of have this sort of philosophy, is that, we move through our lives at a very quick pace these days. Now, COVID has certainly parked us a little bit and had us kind of look at things differently. And many of us are prioritizing things differently. Many of us are taking more time to get out and move our bodies and walk, which is my second favorite kind movement exercise, is walking. But generally speaking, we don't move through our lives with intention or awareness and this appreciation of present moment. So part of yoga is really about this present moment practice, learning how to become aware of these various layers of your being, awareness of your breath, awareness of your physical body and the sensations that are present or not present in your physical body in any given moment. Awareness of how you're feeling, your emotions, your inner dialogue. How is it that you're speaking to yourself? Powerful stuff. We can convince ourselves of a lot of really good stuff through our inner dialogue. We can also tank ourselves quickly based on how we choose to speak to ourselves. And it's that awareness, right? That capacity to be aware and catch yourself doing something good and celebrating. Hey, my body feels great today. Where I was feeling that discomfort, that feels amazing. I feel like I've got some more movement here. Fantastic. Oh, I feel like the weight of the world's off my shoulders now. I've been able to let that feeling go, or, work through it and manage it and find some perspective. And I can celebrate that. And at the same time, it allows us to attend to the discomforts and the pain that may be presenting. And I'm sure, like, you can relate to this as well, is, in the beginning, like, our body in particular whispers to us, right? It sends whispers and messages to us, to kind of say, hey, I need a little attention over here, a little bit of discomfort, this isn't working, whatever it is. And it subtly, in the beginning, sends us these little whispers. And oftentimes we're so busy and engaged in living in life that we think, oh, I sort of feel it, but it'll be fine.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay. It'll
You
be
ignore
fine.
it.
Yeah. And we tuck it away and we park it. And then, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, it gets a little louder and the volume gets turned up. But we're still too busy, and we're just going to try and make it work. We might take a little bit of rest, but we still might try to do some of what we're normally doing, because we don't want to miss out on the workout altogether, or we don't want to miss out on the practice, or whatever it is, or I've just got to get through this time at work and then maybe I'll address it. And more time goes by and the discomfort's still there, and you continue to sort of tolerate that experience. Eventually, if it's left unattended, it morphs into something far bigger. And it becomes a lot harder for us to manage that both physically and mentally, emotionally. So it may present in a very significant chronic pain experience. It may present in illness. It may be the presence of cancer. it or heart disease or whatever it is. If it is left unattended, if those whispers are left unattended, and we choose not to be aware and we choose to tuck and park it away, at some point it will typically come and give us a swift kick in the rear end. And
Yeah.
that's when it's hard.
Yeah, I truly believe like a lot of people like I'm so like, grateful you're talking about this, because a lot of people, I believe they not attract their illness, but they stress their body and all those feelings, all that energy,
Yes.
or just simply ignoring your body, or you are stressed, you are angry, and you are just don't give you just the space to relax and breathe and be like, this is one of the things I don't know, I'm writing a book, but it's like about
Yes.
this awareness, your inner self-talk. What are you
Yes.
telling to yourself? You become what you tell to yourself. It's
Yeah.
every day you're like, oh my gosh, I look ugly in the mirror. Oh my gosh, this is stressful. My life sucks, everything. You are grabbing all that energy and you're
Yes.
retaining everything in your body. And like she said, in the future, everything is gonna be an illness. You are in disease. You are not have good energy in your body. And I'm just so like grateful, because I think people need to, like you say, be aware and stop for a second and just be grateful. Like, I'm alive, I'm breathing,
Yes.
my body, my heart is beating. So just for a simple fact you are breathing this life, you are so, it's a win-win, right? But after
Yes.
that, you just have to stop, breathe, and say, okay, I need to I have this body, I have to take care of it. What can I do to make it better? So
Yeah. And
I am
how
so,
can you, literally each one of us is in the driver's seat of our experience and our life, and it really fundamentally comes down to the choices we make, and again how we choose to dialogue with ourselves and reframe. You know, life is challenging, it is going to throw curveballs at us. The key is keeping our buckets full enough that we can meet those ups and downs with grace and peace and equanimity. If we're not in that place, if life is going like this, we're going like this with it. But if life is going like this, but you're taking time to take care of yourself, breath, body, mind, energy, and soul, through the variety of different practices that are available to you, nourishment of the body, hydration, sleeping, all of the things, these are things we can make choices about. We're in the driver's seat. We're in control of those experiences. If we do that, if we are able to fill the bucket up, put the oxygen mask on ourselves first and foremost, when life does this, we can do a little more of this. We can move and ebb and flow, and we have capacity to meet and deal with the trauma that may present, grief, loss. You know, we've all over the past year, anger, you know, that like, this is life and this is living, and yet somehow we kind of do everything a little bit backwards, and we find ourselves chasing our tail. And when these things happen, we find we're moving and responding from a deficit within ourselves. In particular, you know, again, in many ways, women struggle with this tremendously because of the variety of roles that we engage with in our lives, as parents, as partners, as, you know, employees, as entrepreneurs, wearing the 8 different hats, and you know, feeling like we need to show up and do it all.
Oh no, I think she might have her phone die, or she has no internet. Let's see. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Perfect. So
there you go.
yes, it's, you know, we have this opportunity to make choices, right? And I think when you realize that we, in fact, in many ways, all that we have is within us to empower our optimal beings. It comes down to this awareness. And when we have awareness, if we have the whisper is there and we are attending, we've gotten practice at awareness, you become aware, oh, okay, I'm feeling something a little funky here. And when we are aware with that, we can attend to it, we can evaluate it, we can connect more deeply to that experience. And then once we do that, we have this opportunity to take mindful, purposeful action that serves us well, that compels us forward. If we neglect and neglect and neglect, there's no connection, there's no mindful, purposeful action. And then it's taken out of our hands, because then we've crossed the line and our bodies are in deep pain. Perhaps our minds, our mental, emotional health is in deep struggle, or perhaps we've gotten very sick with disease of some sort. So it's about being proactive. It's about being preventative. It's about honoring yourself first and foremost, and, you know, moving in your body kindly, you know, and I will go out for a run and kind of kick it hard. And, you know, I love that feeling and the endorphins and everything like that. But I also pepper now my activities. Where I used to be, that was all I did, was super hardcore and heavy duty strength training and everything. You know, I've really modified that. Now I'm also, you know, I've aged as well, so I'm cognizant of that. But what I will also say is that this experience with yoga, in all likelihood, I can honestly say I'm in the best shape of my life as a consequence of it. And when I say best shape of my life, I mean best shape in all the layers of my being.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's a very good point too. Like a lot of people take help, like I have to be skinny. Like I constantly have these clients say, oh my goodness, I need to drop this 20 pounds. And their main goal of health is lose weight. And I said, no, you have to approach this health journey in another way. You have to be mindful. Your goal should be from the inner. Why do you want to be healthy? You want to be healthy because you want to be able to live longer, be without pain, because you want to run with your grandkids, because you want to go up and down the stairs. Like, you had to get your goal, and that main goal shouldn't be I want to look like somebody else, or I want to lose this, because you're not going to last in your health journey. You really want to be healthy, like she said, everything, mind, body, and the main thing is you have to value your body. The main thing of health is like, I want to take care of this beautiful being that I is mine, and how can I make it better? How can I make it happier? How can I be in this planet and just have a better quality of life? It's not about being healthy. Oh my goodness, I just love this, because my book is going to be about this. So I'm dropping the ball now. Yeah, and I love it because you said that. So, and I said before, like, it doesn't matter, like, you are not into weight. Like I said, it's so many things you have been doing, and I think yoga is a great way, because I just love the mindfulness. Like, everybody's talking about mindfulness. Like, everybody's like, meditate, visualize, and even it doesn't matter what you're doing, you have to just come and turn off, like, everything around you, and say, I need a moment for me and my being and my body. So you have to turn off the lights and just be aware that you are here. And I think when you do that, when I don't do deep meditation, because two different things is meditations and visualizations. But I visualize, because I'm not like, I want to talk about you about that, because I want some like tips that you can give to people. But when you just literally go to sleep, like before, I just wanted to work, be productive, and I had to sell this, I had to do this, I had to be a mom, I had to cook dinner. So I had somebody say, when do you take time for yourself? And I'm like, when I go to sleep. And she's like, no, you cannot do that. You're going to burn yourself out. So when you literally sit down and say, okay, I'm going to close your eyes, you are so grateful, and you are so aware of so many things that you don't see around you, and you value. And that gratefulness just is another kind of energy. That is another topic. But I love how your approach, and I think yoga, I just falling in love with yoga right now, because the connection of everything. Yes,
it's so powerful. And you know, I think one really, and this has always been a bit of a mind blow for me, or it certainly was when I sort of put the pieces of the puzzle together, is one of the things that has occurred based on society and the business that we've been talking about, and you know, our lives, you know, from one thing to the next. So our nervous systems, in essence, are all resonating at this far higher level, and we're kind of sustaining at that level, right? And so that is the sympathetic nervous system, our fight, flight, freeze response. And if we, again, are not attending, if we're not restoring and rejuvenating, yes, we want to yang, we want to work, we want to have purpose, we want to do and play and all of these things. And that is magic. But if, to your point, we are not consciously inviting restoration into our lives, that nervous system, our nervous systems are now, as a norm, resonating at this heightened state. And when the nervous system is resonating at this heightened state, that is when there is vulnerability for pain and discomfort and unease and anxiousness and massive stress. Stress is like 90+% of the discomfort that we feel in these vessels of ours. So yoga, and this is the brain blow, and this is what just gives you hope instantaneously, is that through the practice of yoga, through mindful movement, through breathing techniques, which are called pranayama in yoga, that's the Sanskrit term, but breathing techniques are where we intentionally affect change to the breath for a desired outcome. So through various breathing techniques, through kind movement, through intention, through mindfulness, through meditation, if you wish. And meditation doesn't need to be a 20, 25-minute exploration and you levitate off your mat. It doesn't need to be that. Meditations can literally be 1-2 minutes of just self-reflection, of stillness, of connection. But we have the capacity through these various tools, how we nourish our bodies, how we hydrate, how we rest and sleep.
Or foods that we put in our body. What kind of food? Are you nourishing your body or not?
Nourishment, right? And this is what this is all about. This is all nourishment of these layers of our being. We have the capacity through these various tools and resources to turn the volume down on the sympathetic nervous system and turn the volume up on the parasympathetic nervous system. Rest, digest, restore, heal, recover. But unless we do that with intention as a practice in our daily lives, we keep resonating up here. So the lesson in this is we have the power within us to change the story between the brain and the nervous system. If somebody is struggling with chronic pain, they've moved from acute phase where tissue is healed, but they're still struggling with chronic pain. Oftentimes it's because the brain and the nervous system have gotten way too good at doing their job, which is protecting you. So it continues to relay the story of pain. You continue to experience real pain, but it's moved into a chronic state. So when I work with clients utilizing movement, pranayama, nudging edges, creating space slowly and kindly, we begin to turn the volume down on the sympathetic nervous system, turn the volume up on the parasympathetic nervous system, and you begin to change the story between the brain and the nervous system. Suddenly they're like, hey, she's got this. And you nudge the edge. And this is how we move out of pain. This is how we prevent ourselves from moving into states of pain, again, be it physically or mentally, emotionally. Anxiety, very, very similar. Ramped up nervous systems. So this is the norm. And we want to shift that norm to one of awareness and practice. So you had said something earlier, and I call it this. I refer to them as islands of calm. And you can name them whatever you wish. But for me, they're islands of calm. And in the beginning, I would schedule these little islands of calm throughout my day. Start with one in the morning, and then I'd do one maybe mid-morning, and then maybe one at lunch, maybe one mid-afternoon, one in the evening. I would pepper my day with these islands of calm. These are literally 1 to 2 moments of literally hitting the pause button on your day to receive the experiences of your day thus far, good, great, not so good, challenging, but to receive them and to feel them and to process them, not to tuck them away to be dealt with when you collapse at home at the end of the day, but then you have to make dinner, so you still don't deal with it. We still tuck it away. But these little islands of calm that allow you to settle in to that place of awareness momentarily, so that you can receive the offering of what you've just moved through, whether you've gone out grocery shopping or what have you. You get into the car, take a moment, be aware of your breath, mindful inhale, mindful exhale. Let yourself take a moment to say, oh, you know what? I'm really grateful for this experience. Oh, you know, this was really hard today. I'm really feeling this. But just like this, these little inventories throughout the day that allow you to sit in that place of awareness, so that you can attend to the experience regardless of the nature of that experience. Give yourself an opportunity to process it, connect deeply to it, and then from that deeper connection, then take mindful, purposeful action to move into the next segment or experience of your day. But oftentimes we move through our days with no conscious awareness of until we get to the end of the day. And then oftentimes, how often is it somebody asks, well, how was your day today? What did you do? And you literally are like, I know it was just a few hours ago, but you know, I know I just came from here. But this whole point of mindfulness, this is a daily practice. You know, these are, and that's what I really want to stress too, right? Is so that these things aren't overwhelming and feel like it's just this giant, you know, well, now I have to, you know, show up and meditate for 25 minutes and then I have to move my body for another 25. Islands of calm. You might take that little island of calm and decide you're going to move your body for a few moments. You know, you might like be sitting in a chair and you might decide you're going to do some shoulder rolls. You're going to roll your neck. You're going to, you know, maybe do some deep breathing. But islands of calm that are literally 1, 2, 3 minutes in length, just allow you to simply sit in reflection and to receive the moments of your day. And what this also does is allow us to be present in the experience of our day-to-day lives. It allows us to have the fingers on the pulse of how we're feeling about the experiences we're moving through. So we're not just tucking them away and packing them away and not necessarily dealing with them or celebrating, again, the moments of goodness. And sometimes those moments of goodness are somebody paid for my coffee in the drive-through.
I know. And I want to add something to that.
Yes.
It's those little moments that you schedule, like it's good in everything. Like we decide if it's going to be good or bad. So we put the feeling into everything we receive. So when you pause and you take the moment and say, okay, it's a good, is like you can internalize it like a negative energy, or you can just let it go and just pick the positive. Like I know at the moment, like everything's, oh my gosh. But if you like it's when you get so mad and the next day was like, oh my gosh, it wasn't that bad. But if you pause and like you just get all that bad energy, you internalize, it's stressful, it's anger, and all that bad energy, your body resents it, and you're like, it's when she said it just accumulates. But when you take these little like moments for you to pause and breathe and just think about it, and especially, it sounds dumb, but if you get like angry or like you practice this, like before, my husband is gonna see the video, but like he used to be the one that somebody would cross the road and he was like, baby, he would get so angry. And I'm like, it's not really that bad. And now he's getting better because we are practicing. And now somebody's like, and he's like, man, I'm like getting better. And I'm like, yes, it's just like, you just have to pause and say, is it really that bad? Am I just internalize that and bring my body in a negative state and hold that? And if you think about it, it's so, I know so many people that have resentment or like anger in life, just let it go, because even you will see, you will feel in your body, like they remember and they will start telling you, oh yeah, he cheated me, and your body's immediately, is that energy like a cloud above you. And if you pause and do these little meditations throughout the day to think about it, you literally is going to change your life, your health, and your body. You're going to have less stress in your life. So I love this for your time. I just wanted to add that because I completely
love
agree.
It. No, that's perfect. And it's so right. It's changing. It's consciously changing our languaging, right? Around around our experiences. And, and yes, it's okay for us to have moments of frustration and anger. And, this is again part of the human experience. But what we certainly have the opportunity to do is to choose how we move through it and manage it. In the case of, I can relate to that, has been frustrated with cars pulling out in front and so on, is that it's, we end up taking on that negative energy when we get frustrated and angry. Whereas versus it's okay, well, that person's in a hurry. I'm not. So
that you don't know what's going on in their lives. Like sometimes they are so busy and said you don't even know what they're going through. Maybe they have an emergency. Like they don't even need to do it on purpose. So it's just how you take it and how you perceive it and how you internalize.
And do we want to hold? Do you want to hold on to that energy, right? And I think that's the thing is, again, we can be in the driver's seat of this experience. We can choose, to shift the story, and that is the power that we each have within us. So, definitely encourage you to become besties with your nervous system. It is profound when you wrap your head around the idea that you yourself can help manage and shift that story between brain and nervous system. It's very empowering, and it allows you again to step into the driver's seat of your pain experience and pain management. Again, physically or mentally, emotionally, because again, we are addressing the whole being and recognizing that these layers are inextricably linked. And, this practice of islands of calm is really on purpose living in present moment. And in those present moments, to your point earlier, is these are moments of gratitude as well. Gratitude for this gift of life, for these moments I've just had. And, what was really special about them, what was good about them, what challenged me, what's good about that. It's sometimes we're challenged, but we're challenged for a reason. And it's because we're being asked to move through something that in all likelihood is going to evolve us into a better version of ourselves, right? And that's how we learn and we grow and evolve. And, I think, like yoga is about connection, and yoga means yoking, literally.
Yes.
So, it's, and so that just gives the visual of it, is just bringing, this intention to living and life, and how we want to step into the best versions of ourselves possible in any given moment. It's not perfect, but we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be perfectly imperfect, and to celebrate that, and to hold space for each other to be that. And some days we're going to be rocking our lives and everything feels like magic, and then other times the carpet's pulled out from under us, and we're like grasping to try and find the solutions and the answers. But the better off we are at managing our beings on a day-to-day basis through these incredible practices, which are inclusive of training and working out our bodies. There's room for all of this. It's the yang and the yin, and cultivating balance and moderation, going full throttle, working hard, enjoying the energy of that, but then giving yourself permission to rest and rejuvenate and recover, and just, it's about, this helps us build the muscle. It helps us build resilience for this craziness of life.
Yes. So I know you offer coaching online, which is awesome. So I saw you. What do you incorporate in your? I know it's not only yoga, but I saw you include meditation and rock your chakra. So can you give us a little bit more of what you do? What do you include in your classes online?
Okay, so meditation. So in the meditations I have online, again, these are they're brief meditations, and they will address different things. One is like a ground and flow, and is about grounding in our bodies. The other one is simply a body scan. So for those perhaps that are struggling with pain or feeling disconnected from body, and that happens often, this is a really wonderful exercise to scan the body. It's very mindful and purposeful. It's a little bit more of a physical experience, which can sometimes be helpful if you're new to yoga and meditation feels like it's overwhelming, or being still for any length of time feels overwhelming. The body scan is a very grounded, very you know, you're literally attending to body parts and checking in. So it has a little bit more of a, I'm not sure the word's analytical, but a little bit more functional. Let's use the word functional. We'll use it. It's a more of a functional, very, very powerful, but very functional. There is a yoga nidra in there. So yoga nidra is a very powerful yogic technique. It's actually yogic sleep. The intention is not that you sleep. However, if you do, it's probably because you really need it. So just go with the flow. But yoga nidra is this really wonderful way of, if you struggle with sleep issues, chronic fatigue, not sleeping at night, all of these things, insomnia, yoga nidras can be very helpful, because 15 minutes of a yoga nidra is equivalent to 1 hour of deep sleep.
Ooh, my husband is going to be excited with this.
Yes. So you can do a yoga nidra up to 45 minutes. Some of them are an hour long. So if you're in an hour long yoga nidra, it is like getting 4 hours of deep sleep.
Wow.
It is a guided meditation again. You attend to body parts, you body scan first, and then there's a visualization that goes with it. They can be very different. But what's really fascinating about them is that they go by super fast. So I've been in an hour yoga nidra and come out of it, and literally it's felt like 20 minutes.
5 minutes.
It's
so
ridiculous.
Short.
And people tell you that it's going to be like that, and you're like, nah, it's not. And it's like that. And so very powerful, right? These are again tools that you can put in your toolkit to draw upon when you need them. When I was going through significant healing 3 years ago, I was probably doing a yoga nidra every day, every second day, in some way, shape, or form. And I really credit it for helping me. I was moving through very severe anxiety at the time. And I credit it for really helping me lower the decibel on that and get back into my body and grounded and feeling good. So meditation. And some of them one of them is called a white sheet meditation. And that's kind of a neat one, because you kind of surround yourself visually with people, important people in your life. And it's a very supportive one. And so the ones that I offer up are all, in essence, guided meditations. And that can be really helpful, again, if you are just new to this whole experience. And the idea of sitting down yourself and trying to be present. And sometimes we put pressure on ourselves that it has to look and be a certain way. Sometimes guided meditation is just a nice introduction to help you sort of get into, you're not totally in isolation on your own. There's a voice that's guiding you, that's calling you to present moment and holding you there a little bit more. But really powerful. And again, these are things to just slow it all down, and begin to embrace these less is more practices in your life, because they are so incredibly powerful. So the meditations, I think, and I'm by no means would I consider myself a meditation expert. There are definitely people that know more and spend a lot more time on that aspect of the practice. But I definitely utilize it as part of the toolkit that I offer up to my clients, and I utilize it myself, and it's really valuable. So I do believe I have there's 5 different ones on there. One of which is the guided body scan, one of which is the yoga nidra, and then there's sort of 3 more traditional guided meditations on there. And then the chakras,
that's the one I want to learn.
Like you and I could do another whole segment on chakras because they're just so incredible. But in a nutshell, so we talked about having a breath body and a physical body, mental, emotional body, and this energetic body. And if you can envision, the chakra system is literally the energetic blueprint of your body. So it is beyond your physical body, and it is sensation, and it is vibration. And in North America, we refer to 7 chakras generally. There are, in fact, gazillions of them. In your hand alone, there's like hundreds. But our understanding and how we conceptualize it in North America is through the 7 chakras. And it relates back in many ways to the sheaths that I spoke of: breath, body, mind, energy, soul. The chakra system is very reflective of that as well. So at the base of your spine is the root chakra. Root chakra is our sense of stability and security and safety, feeling grounded, connected. If we're feeling anxious, if we've been through a lot of change in our lives, maybe we've moved, maybe we've lost a job, we feel untethered, our root chakra may become vulnerable. If we're struggling with lower back pain, chronic pain in the lower back, that can be an indicator of an imbalance in your root chakra. As you move up the body, you move into the sacral chakra, which is through the lower abdomen. In particular, an extremely hot spot for women, because we know why. There's all sorts of action that goes on down there. And so this one is our ability to go with the flow of life, whereas the root chakra, the element is earth. With the sacral chakra, the element is water. And it's our ability to go with the flow, to create, to inspire, is really it in a nutshell. And these are like nutshell descriptions.
I bet.
Yeah, but it gives you a sense of, again, if there is, if there is an imbalance in the sacral chakra, we may have difficulty with the flow of our life. There's resistance, things feel hard. We're again, and especially if root chakra is out of whack, we're untethered, we're not feeling rooted, we're not able to go with the flow, we feel stuck. That sort of sacral chakra. As you move up into the belly, this is solar plexus chakra, literally the fire in your belly. This is like our place of passion and purpose. And if this chakra can go either way. If it's too fired up and we're too, we can be angry and frustrated and so on. And if it's not fired up enough, we're lethargic. We can't get off the couch. We're immobilized in some way. So we want to stoke the fire in the belly, but we don't want to stoke it so much that there's frustration and anger. Yeah, we want the balance, the yin and yang. And of course, just like all the other layers we spoke of, these layers are inextricably linked with one another. So if there is an imbalance in one, chances are it's going to reflect up through the chakra system. But it might be most prevalent in one of the particular areas. So we want to, again, be aware of how our energy is serving us. If you move up from there, we move into heart chakra. And heart chakra is sort of the between the upper echelons and the lower echelons it's like the meeting place. And this is heart. And this is where we give and receive love. And oftentimes for women in particular, this can be a very vulnerable chakra. Because generally speaking, we are really good at showing up and serving and loving others and giving at the expense of ourselves. We might not be giving and extending that kind of love and kindness and care to ourselves. We may also not be permitting it and receiving it from those around us, because maybe we don't feel like we have time, or we're worthy, or we're enough. So we keep giving and giving and giving, and we end up struggling, and we end up with basically what we call a tear in the heart chakra. And there's a very high scientific correlation between vulnerable heart chakra and the presence of breast cancer, which is I wrote a whole paper on that when I was moving through my yoga therapy, and it was absolutely fascinating to kind of understand sort of the energy behind that. So oftentimes there's a lot of work to do here in heart chakra, in particular for women, in terms of how do we love ourselves. And we spoke about it already earlier. We find that sometimes really hard to do, that inner dialogue where we take ourselves into that rabbit hole, and we diminish ourselves, our bodies, and who we are, and our capacities. And yes, we're going to have moments like that in our lives, but we cannot allow ourselves to hang out in that place. And if we do, there's danger with that, again, in terms of the manifestation of chronic physical illness and disease and mental emotional health. So Nurturing heart chakra, super duper important. They're all important, but this one is definitely a vulnerability. And as you move up, you move into throat chakra. And throat chakra is our ability to articulate and speak our truths, and to have that confidence to be authentic and show up as ourselves and speak what that truth is from a kind, compassionate place. It is also our capacity to listen and to receive effectively. And that is your throat chakra. And then you have your third eye chakra, which is basically your center of intuition, your intellect, reasoning. And really there is your intuition. Is just really beginning to connect deeply to intuition, to trust your intuition. We get very disconnected from our intuition, or we don't trust it because we are not practicing awareness daily in a present way. So it all comes back and comes back. So that's throat chakra. And then the seventh chakra we talked about is Sahasrara, which is the crown chakra. And this is the 1,000-petal lotus. And this is really about connection to soul, bigger being, showing up in service to the world, because things are feeling, you are connected in all these beautiful energetic layers of your being. They are balanced, you're nurturing, and you come to that place of equanimity, of capacity, of, you know, not only are you feeling grounded and rooted and in the flow and creative and passionate and purposeful, engaged, heart-centered, loving, giving, receiving love, honoring yourself, moving to your throat chakra so you can speak that truth, speak that love, speak that energy authentically, from that grounded place. And, you know, even as I say it and I speak it, you can just feel as you arrive into that crown chakra, emanating 1,000-petal lotus up into the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's that deep connection and sense of contentment with this life, this physical vessel, energetic vessel, soulful vessel. And we are, in essence, living, breathing, and being in our optimal state of being and well-being. So these, again, are just, we can come in from so many different directions when it comes to yoga. And oftentimes with my clients, you know, I'll introduce a concept or an idea. So oftentimes chakra in my mastery program, it's introduced a little bit later in the program, especially if people are just kind of getting into yoga and understanding what it's all about. It can feel really overwhelming. And, you know, so I might introduce a particular concept to a client and they'll be like, yeah, I'm not doing that, Julie. That is like ridiculous. And, you know, and I can see the eyes roll in the back of their head and I'm like, that's cool. No. That's totally okay. Yoga is without a doubt a readiness thing. It is always your practice. So although you may be guided, although I may guide you, at the end of the day, it's your practice, your breath, your body, your mind, your emotion, your soulful being. You know it best. And as you get practice with awareness, you will get so much better at giving yourself what it is that you need. It is helpful to have a guide. It is helpful to have somebody bring awareness to different possibilities and aspects, which you may or may not be ready to embrace in any given moment. That same client that rolled their eyes at me and said, yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I'm like,
is it more, cool. They're more connected at the end.
Honestly, 6 months later, 8 months later, might even be a year later, suddenly it's the best thing that they've ever done. And how come I didn't introduce it sooner? And it's like, but that's the thing, is the readiness. And whenever I choose to work with a client and a client chooses to work with me, it really is about me meeting the client where he or she may be at. And then we navigate that path together, open those doorways together, nudge those edges, create the space for safe exploration. Things may or may not resonate in any given moment. The things that do, we build upon. Things that don't, we table and park. But we continue to revisit, and until eventually, again, we move from where I did, this place of, you know, I don't get yoga, I'm just going to go back to harder, stronger, faster, to wow, I get this yoga thing. I
I want
feel
to
it.
stay here.
It resonates, and this is going to become a big part of my life. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be, for me, it's become my purpose and
Passion.
passion and way to serve. It is my expertise, and so I feel very grateful for that. What a better way to make a living than doing something that you passionately love and are purposeful about, and you get to help people feel better in their brains and their bodies, and enjoy this thing called life. And I'm not joking, Deni, when I say yoga has literally saved my life. It saved me from a back surgery several years ago. Going to be over 10 years ago. I was struggling with severe sciatica, like that close to getting surgery. And I had met the surgeon, and I decided to let go all the other activities. I was still strength training at the time. I was a spin instructor at the time. And all I did was go to just a gentle, kind movement practice, pranayama techniques. All I did, I just went totally to my yoga practice. And I was to see him in 6 weeks' time to evaluate whether or not we were going to continue with the surgery. And I saw him in 6 weeks, and I was like a new woman. And he said to me, if you were one of my surgery patients and we had done surgery and you would come in to see me for your follow-up appointment, I would say, you're rocking it. Just keep doing what you're doing. There's no surgery. And he wasn't a huge proponent of surgery. But there was definitely a possibility that was going to happen for me. And I didn't want to do that. And I devoted myself just simply to the kind movement, the breath work, some mindfulness and meditation. And it has been 10 plus years. And I get little whispers in my left gluteal muscle. If I, for whatever reason, which happens very rarely, I've missed a movement or a practice or two, it will remind me. It'll be like, hey, I'm still kind of here. But as long as I keep doing it, it's been at bay. And I really credit my yoga practice for just creating that space in my body. And 3 years ago, I had a major setback in my life where life, as I know it, imploded. And due to my mental emotional health issues, I ended up in the hospital. And I had struggled several years prior, many years, when my teen years, with very significant depression. And when September of 2017 hit, for many reasons, some of which were my own doing, my life really imploded. And I went from function and capacity, and it was a very quick descent. And I found myself back in depression, and I thought I had it, and I didn't. And my story in Changemakers, where I contributed a chapter to that book, is all about that story. And it's a heavy story, so I'm not necessarily going to go into that now. But if you're interested in that story, you're more than welcome. You can find Changemakers on Amazon. And
I check it out.
Yes, and you'll understand. But 3 years since that happened, 3 years. It was on my birthday, November 30th of 2017. My yoga practice has been, I alluded to the yoga nidras and all the various parts of the yoga, and literally it's gifted me my life back. And I have been able to manage my depression, decrease my anxiety. And I've always been on a medication for my depression throughout the years. What's interesting is that even after that event, I'm actually now on the lowest dosage of medication I've ever had. Thank you. And yes. I will say this, I like to clarify this, that I, as much as I am a yogi, I believe that there is a place for things. Medication for me has definitely helped me take the edge off and allowed me to do the healing and work that I need to do, and to live from a place of capacity. So I am like, if meds take the edge off and help you function and help you grow and evolve and heal, I support it entirely. And of course, as a yogi, many times people say, well, it should be pure and natural, and no, and no. And I think that's dangerous languaging. I think you need to make decisions for yourself that feel right for you along with your healthcare providers. And for me, it is one of the doorways that I utilize to support my whole health and well-being. The beautiful part of it is that because I have been able to nourish myself in all these other beautiful ways that we've talked about, the medication has become a the least amount I've required. And I have been able to step into a place again of just equanimity, capacity, function. I feel I'm so happy I'm alive and present and part of, you know, this journey. So so yes, it is very powerful. Again, it is a readiness thing, and just remind yourself it is a practice. If you've moved through this call with us and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like brain blow and overwhelming, and where do I start with this? Just start with your breath.
So can you just say the name of your book again?
Yes.
So they can find it. It's Change Makers.
It's Change Makers, and it is 20
transformational stories for women.
Yep, transformational stories of women making an impact in the lives of others.
Yeah. So go to Amazon and grab that book.
Absolutely.
Also, okay, so we talk about chakras, which is amazing. So like if people like getting like me, like I know about chakras, but I don't know a ton of stuff. So it's like chakras is your energy, right? They say I have to align my chakra. So the way it gets this balance is how you say how we don't take care of ourselves, we don't pause, and all that energy we just grab, not nourishing ourselves, is how it gets this balance life. And how do you align it? Through meditation or through how do you align that?
That is a great question. So the alignment, so if chakras are misaligned and not in balance, there are particular movements or postures or asana, as we refer to it in yoga, again, because there's a Sanskrit language of yoga. I don't speak generally in Sanskrit. I just find that this just makes it a simpler conversation. That's like a whole course on its own. And it's wonderful and it's a beautiful language. But for our purposes here today, you know, root chakra, you can move your body in such a way to support the root chakra. So as an example, if you are struggling with anxiety, a really wonderful, very easy thing to do is to come down into Shavasana, which is final resting yogic pose in yoga, otherwise known as corpse pose. You're literally just going to lay on your back. You can take a folded blanket, like a folded, I use, my favorites are my Mexican blankets, and they're with all their colorful, beautiful designs, and you fold them so that they've got some weight to them, and you can use one blanket or two blankets. You can really weight it up and put 3 blankets if you want, but you can place that right across the pelvis, and you can settle into the sacral area of your lower back on the mat, and then that weight allows the back body to settle even more into the earth. And that can be a very grounding, calming alignment to do. So it can be really simple things. You know, any time that you are connected through your tailbone, basically, or the base of your spine with the earth, is rooting and grounding. Simply bringing, if you're seated and you're having some anxiety, simply bringing your feet to meet the earth, keeping them hip width apart, line your second toe, lift all 10 toes up with intention, root into the big toe mound, inner heel, baby toe mound, outer heel. You're going to feel your arches of your feet lift, and then just let your toe pads release to the floor, to the mat, and feel the connection with the earth. Grounded, connected, tethered, supported, safe, stable. And it's the languaging that we accompany with these movements, right? So if that's what you're feeling, if you're feeling untethered, disconnected, anxious, floating off like a helium balloon into the sky, bring your feet to meet the earth. If you're outside, take your shoes off and just scrunch your feet in the grass, and close your eyes and breathe. Breathe in the air through the nose, feel the coolness. As you exhale, feel the warmth of the breath as it comes out in your exhale. Transformation, easiest transformation right there in our beings and bodies. Inhale in through the nose, it feels cool. Exhale out through the nose, it feels warm. Transformation. So with each of the chakras, there are breathing techniques that you can utilize to support the specific chakra imbalances. So what I have online is basically 7 yoga classes that include movement, mindfulness, breath work, hand mudra. Hand mudras are another thing. We can utilize our hands in different positions to help energy flow in the different chakras. So there are a variety of different hand movements. You can bring your thumb to your index finger, and these are different techniques again that we can utilize to again bring flow. And that's really what it's all about. Is, you know, yoga at the end of the day is about inspiring and empowering freedom and flow in these layers of our being. And when we get freedom and flow, we find balance, and we find connection and integration, right? And that's really what we're working towards, is that sense of integration of self, right? And just really appreciating, trusting, and understanding that you have that power to do it. I'm just looking here, a really good example of, so root chakra meditation. If you, let's just do a really quick little root chakra meditation. So whomever is present with you, I encourage you just to bring your feet to meet the earth and get settled with all points of contact between your back body and the earth beneath you. An invitation to close your eyes and take your gaze inward if you like. Bring a little length to your spine and side body, a little tone to your lowest belly. So again, you're just creating some space. Little softness in the shoulders. Relax your jaw, give it a little roll around. And take a nice full breath in through the nose, fill your belly, rib cage, chest. And this time as you exhale, if you wish, just let the breath go out through the mouth, sigh it out. Just surrender it. And just continue to keep your eyes closed here. And I'll just take you through this little root chakra meditation. And this will just show you the power of languaging. I am connected to all that is around me. This connection gives me a strong foundation and does not hold me back. Security and stability in life allow me to move with both confidence and connection to who I am. So just receiving those words as they may be meaningful to you in this moment. And gently opening your eyes as you're ready.
It's just, I just love, like, just this little exercise, just literally is like when you are guiding, like what I love about guided meditation, like when you're saying relax your jaw, you're guiding that, you literally feel your body. Like you are concentrating each part of your body, and you feel how just like your body, yes. This is stress. It's amazing. And the breathing part, I think, is a huge thing. Like I am just in love with this. Like I'm just so grateful like you are here. I'm learning so much.
I feel the same way. I'm so it's obviously I love talking about it. It's my passion. I could talk about it for hours. And I just think it's so powerful because we begin to realize that we have the ability to truly look after ourselves, to make choices that help us prevent the occurrence of pain and discomfort. And if pain and discomfort does present itself, we have all that we need within us to navigate that process, to draw ourselves forward. And again, in conjunction with other healthcare providers, it's not, science is a wonderful thing. So, our doctors, our physicians, scientists, our massage therapists, our osteopaths, our chiropractors. Again, these are all different doorways through which we can go through to attend to our whole health and well-being. So when you pepper your life with these resources around you, that is simply you making that choice to honor all the layers of your being to the very best of your ability according to what you need. And that is like game changing. This is game changing, life changing capacity. And, you know, we talked very little about pranayama and breath work, but there are all these breathing techniques that we can do. An on-the-spot remedy for anxiety specifically is called bee breath. And literally, you'll sit just as we did for the meditation. And any of these things you can do standing, as long as it's accessible and you feel like you're in a safe space to do. But bee breath is simply that, just making the sound of a bee. I'll do a little demonstration. You breathe in.
It's like the vibration that your body, if you feel it,
it's
how
a
your voice.
vibration. And so bee breath is really powerful. So the key to bee breath is inhaling through the nose. Exhale, you make the sound of M, like a bee. Your lips are just lightly pursed, so you're relaxed through here. You release the breath, and you don't release it and extend the exhale that there's discomfort, because that can have the opposite effect. If we are straining in that exhale, that can actually ramp up the nervous system. So we want to exhale to a place we feel comfortable, allow that inhale to resume naturally, breathing in. Exhale, buzz it out like a bee for as long as it feels comfortable for you. You can also use your index fingers to seal off the flaps of your ears. I'm holding my phone, so I can't do
What is the flap? This is the flap, right?
These little
like
flappy
my
things
English,
on the inside, right here.
Okay. This
I
one.
think they're called your tragus.
But
you just gently seal those off, and you can check that out. That's going to give you a different experience of bee breath, because you're going to be much more in your head. You're going to feel the vibration differently. That may or may not feel comfortable for you. So again, you decide your practice, your experience, you choose what feels right for you. But you can simply just come to sit. And if you feel anxiety rearing, panic attack, anything like that, you start to feel that little vibration in your skin or the palpitation in your heart, find a place and space where you can go and take yourself through several rounds of bee breath. It is literally recognized as the on-the-spot remedy for anxiety.
And I can tell you this, like, I always look for this meditation, and I actually have an app. I don't know, it's a Saguru app. It's a free app. So it's, I forgot the name, I'm bad at this, but it's a 10-minute like meditation, and you do the sound. I don't know if the same sound, but it sounds almost the same. And I swear, like, I would, like, the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this, and I'm there like by myself doing this noise. At the beginning, it's weird, like, if you're not used to, but like, I'll keep doing it. They said at least 21 days. I kept doing it. And I literally, like, and you don't feel like you float or anything like that. What I felt, I saw a circle. So you have my eye closed, and I saw a blue circle, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, I think it was a light in front of me, but I just sleep like a baby. Like, after that, you just feel so calm, and I swear I had the best sleep of my life. Like, you just turn off everything. Like, I used to just look at my phone and just, yes, and like my phone, the worst, because all of you just carry everything in your sleep. So if you take these little breathing exercises before you go to sleep, I promise you, you're going to sleep like a baby. Like, you're going to be in a deeper sleep, I believe.
Absolutely. And I think that, taking some time before bed to settle yourself, be it with breathing, be it with a yoga nidra, maybe you're going to take a few moments to write in a journal and write what you're grateful for. Write 3 to 5 things that you were grateful for that occurred in the day, so that you're completing your day from a place of gratitude, right? And many of us are having a gratitude practice, but if maybe you've taken a break from it and it's time to get back to it. But beginning and ending your day from a place of gratitude. When you first wake in the morning, gratitude for that first sip of air that you take, because again, it just happens mindlessly for us. We wake and we breathe, but can you pay attention to that first sip of air that you take upon waking, and feel grateful for the fact that there is this first breath you get to take, and you have a new day ahead of you? And a little scan of your body, gratitude for your physical body, the vessel, as it is in this moment, perfectly imperfect, no judgment, open heart, open mind, right? So beginning and ending your day with gratitude. definitely a yoga practice. And I kind of say it's all yoga. It really is. It's all yoga, this thing called life. And it comes down to the choices we make in any given moment relative to what is going on in our lives and how we are going to choose to meet ourselves in that moment, right? And it's a practice. So
Yes.
remind yourself of that. It all doesn't have to happen in a day. I've been practicing yoga for almost 15, 16 years, and I am still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still evolving in my practice. It is a journey, and it is a lifelong journey. So it doesn't have a beginning and an end date. It definitely has a beginning date as you are ready to embrace all that yoga has to offer, but there is no finish line. It's about moving and breathing and being in your whole health and well-being with awareness, with attention, connecting, and inspiring mindful, purposeful action from there. And just practicing that, allowing it to be a part of your daily practice. And so they used to say it took 21 days to make a habit. But
Yes.
scientific results suggest it's more like 66 days.
I believe that. I was like, it's
Yeah,
what I was talking to my husband too, because we do a lot of I forgot the name. When you right, I am so intentions. Yeah,
yes, affirmations and intentions,
affirmations.
yes.
Yes. So you change your beliefs, right?
Yes.
So they said we always say I think it takes a little bit more because we have done it like 20. We're like I don't really feel like literally yesterday he was telling me I've been doing this for 20, but I don't feel it yet. And I said I think it should be longer. Like just keep
Yeah.
doing it, keep doing it, and make it a habit.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take a lot of your time, but if somebody wants to, it's been so fun. I can stay here all evening and talk. If somebody wants to start your classes and say, where do they go? And if they have it, like if they are like a beginning, if you have
Yeah.
a beginning, intermediate, like what should they do? Or
So
what
right
will you recommend?
now, so right now, in particular with COVID,
Mm-hmm.
so I have a yoga library online where you do a class at a time if you like, or
Mm-hmm.
you can purchase like a monthly membership that just gives you full access to all of the yoga classes plus the meditations.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're all levels classes. They're, again, what I would call moderate. Some of them have a little bit more of a physicality to them, but again, I tend to teach from a very moderate place. So that is certainly an option if you wish to check out some of my classes and work with me in that way. The Rock Your Chakras class series is on there. I believe it's $97.
Mm-hmm.
That's in Canadian funds, and it's all, that includes everything. And that is the 7 chakra classes. And it's basically an introduction to the chakras with movement, breath, hand mudra, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that option. The vast majority of the work that I am doing now is has more to do with yoga coaching, where I am working one-on-one with clients. So right
Mm-hmm.
now, the program that I'm really excited about and working with several clients on is called Reclaimed, and it's Take Your Life Back.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is about empowering yourself, mind, body, and soul, and moving out of physical, mental, emotional pain. That can also relate to PTSD,
Mm-hmm.
disconnection from body. Again, it's just this opportunity to really reclaim your life and step into the driver's seat of your pain experience and live and get back to full living. So that's Reclaimed. That is on
And
Instagram.
that's live classes, like you.
It is. So what that it's a combination of things. So right now everything is run through Zoom. So
Mm-hmm.
it's basically a 12-week mastery. So it's definitely, it's a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2 sessions per week. One session is a coaching call. The second session is kind movement practice. And it's structured in such a way to nudge the doors open and begin to, again, put yourself in the driver's seat of your pain experience
Mm-hmm.
and heal, and recover, and to really, a lot of some of the tools we talked about today, and so much more, we move through. So that is a 12-week mastery. And what I suggest with that, if that is something that is resonating, I would invite you to book a free coaching call with me. That's the kind of commitment that we're each going to make to each other, that we want to make sure that we're a good fit. I need to understand specifically what your needs are, and if I'm able to support you in that process and through this particular program. So to book your coaching call, if you're on Instagram, you can go right to my bio, and it says Reclaim, Take Your Life Back. You can go check out what that program is. And if it resonates, you're more than welcome to book a coaching call with me. And I'd love to have a conversation with you just to understand where you're at right now in this moment of your life, and we can have a conversation.
So we have a comment. Thank you so much for all this interesting information. I didn't realize yoga was so involved. Yes, that's the thing. Yes, it's like you just think about yoga and you say, oh, it's just stretching and everybody's just there doing weird movements, but it's more than that. Like, we just learn so much more, and like how it can change your life, like literally, like mind, body, awareness, intention, be present. So it's what I think you are going to live a better life when you are connected with everything. So
and there's so much magic in it. And I love that comment, because, you know, again, I've kind of given you the whole sort of spectrum, right? And so again, just from a North American standpoint, how we tend to view it. And so just to open up your eyes and your ears and your heart and your soul to the possibility, there's so much magic in it, and it has the capacity to literally change your life. And I myself am talking proof of that. I absolutely credit it to supporting not only my physical being, but my mindset as well. And so yeah, there's and just again, just the encouragement. It is a practice, you know, as much as it feels like it's a lot and we don't realize how involved it is. Again, we take it in small steps, baby toe steps, and just allow yourself to meet yourself where you're at in that experience. And that is my job, as a guide to meet you where you're at. So, and I like to say too, be playful with it. It's, you know, we sometimes think everything has to be like, so, you know, perfect and definitive. And part of yoga is playful spirit, and learning how to play in our bodies and experience freedom and flow, and, you know, rediscover ourselves in that way. And
I was about to say that. I think you will discover yourself.
Yeah, rediscover yourself, and get connected, and fill the vessel, and just allow yourself to be the most capable version of yourself possible in any given moment. And, you know, all the work that you do, the yoga, all of these things help contribute to that capacity, to meet this crazy life. And it is a crazy life, but it's a wonderful life, right? And when we're equipped to meet it, it doesn't necessarily ease our heartaches. We still need to move through those things. But if our physical bodies are strong enough and our minds are robust enough, we can guide ourselves through it with support of others as well. So yeah.
All right, so I'm going to share, like, if I copy your link from the Instagram, I posted in the comments. I will put that in the comments for anybody interested, and I'm going to share also this video on my Instagram. Beautiful. So I have two Instagrams. I don't know why. I have two, but I will share it on both of them. So for just to end, okay, so if you're interested, you can add her on Facebook. Like, you just click on her beautiful picture and just add her. You can connect with her, or you can go. Yes, and I believe in Instagram is your name too, Julie. How do you pronounce your last name? Thayer? 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 Thayer, yes. So just go to Instagram and follow her. So for the last thing, what do you recommend if somebody wants to start, like, a little exercise? If I want to be more connected with myself starting today, what can I do to do that?
I think if I was going to suggest one thing, a really easy thing to do, that benefits everybody, is to focus on what I would call an extended exhalation breath. It is known as a very therapeutic breath. You're literally going to inhale through the nose for a count of 4, and you're going to exhale for a count of 6.
6.
Inhale
I'm gonna write it
for
down.
4, yep, out for 6. And the point of that is that extending that exhalation just a little bit longer in the inhale has literally been proven to be therapeutic and healing. And again,
you close your eyes, it doesn't matter the posture you are. You can be sitting.
Know what? If you are comfortable closing your eyes and taking your gaze inward, I think that allows you to settle into present moment. If you have discomfort closing your eyes, I would suggest utilizing what we call a yogic dristi, and that is just yogic gaze. So you'll just focus on something in front of you. It could be like when we practice a yoga dristi in movement, it could be looking at a knot on the floor, basically, that softly hold your gaze on a particular focus. And that's just called dristi. So if you have discomfort closing your eyes, which is absolutely fine, just allow yourself to softly gaze at something specifically, and that's called a dristi. But it's nice if you can close your eyes, to just close your eyes and go inward a bit. A little scan of your internal landscape allows you to receive your inhalation, which is a gift. It is always a gift to receive that inhalation. And then exhalation out for a count of 6. And that's just a really simple, if you find that right now perhaps capacity doesn't feel quite right for that, maybe you inhale for 3 and out for 5. The whole
the exhalation has to be longer.
Has to be longer. So it's helpful if you count, just to just to bring some frame of reference and understand that exhale is just a little bit longer. And that's a really good place to start.
I'm doing it now.
Again, it's easy. You can do it through store lineup. This is another really good exercise to start to play with. So when you're standing in the grocery store lineup, notice how you come to stand. Because oftentimes it's kind of our lazy standing, and maybe our hips are out and our feet are turned out, and we're, maybe rifling through the little magazine at the stand, and we kind of come to stand mindlessly while we're waiting. Take an opportunity to have a look down at the position of your feet so that you can start to build your foundation from the ground up. The legs govern the spine. So how we position our feet and mobilize our legs impacts the positioning of our spine. So when you look down at your feet, if your toes happen to be pointing outwards, or maybe they're pointing inwards, just notice maybe your hips jutting out a little bit. This is about starting to create Tadasana, which is standing mountain pose in yoga. So have a look down at your feet with intention. Lift your feet up, take your feet hip width apart, and align the second, third toe with the middle of the ankle. So
you have to share a picture in the comments.
So just think of your
like this
third toe, that little line, and you're going to align the second, third toe with your middle ankle. And it's going to, your feet, in essence, if you're standing on a yoga mat, your feet are almost parallel to the outer edges of your mat. All right. But we want to realign. We want to bring everything back. So as you have an optimal energetic blueprint, you have an optimal physical blueprint, which we get moved off of because of injury, repetitive movement patterns that may not particularly serve us well, compensation from injury. We start to move in our bodies differently, and our body begins to get pulled away from that optimal blueprint. So good news is you can invite yourself back to that optimal blueprint with some mindfulness and practice. So feet hip width apart. Good rule of thumb is 2 fists width at the backs of your heels. You can just check that out to create the space. Align second, third toe with mid ankle. Lift all 10 toes up. Give them a little spread. Like I said earlier, root into the big toe mound, inner heel, baby toe mound, outer heel. Feel yourself ground and root. Shins hug in. You lift and lengthen through spine and side body. Little tone of lowest belly. Soften shoulders, back of the neck lengthens, crown of the head extends, and you're bringing yourself back into that optimal blueprint. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but at the very least, begin to observe the positioning of your feet in your day-to-day movement. If your toes are turned out, if your toes are turned in. And we just start to rebuild that foundation from the ground up. In this case, the feet specifically. So just for now, just start to focus on the position of your feet and realigning with intention your feet. Second toe aligns with the middle of the ankle, because then the ankle and the knee and the hip and then the shoulders and then the crown of the head. But if we start at the feet, it's a really good place to begin, because oftentimes our hands and feet in yoga are our foundation. So that is a very good exercise to begin with, and it will help you begin to, again, return yourself to your optimal body blueprint. And really, it is Tadasana, which is standing mountain pose in yoga. And Tadasana in yoga, we say, is in every asana. So no matter what movement you are doing, whether it's a downward facing dog or a warrior two, the body is in an expression of Tadasana, standing mountain pose. It is simply moving in space differently. So Tadasana is a very integral posture to begin to play with, and that will allow you to begin to work in that alignment a little bit with mindfulness and intention, beginning to observe how your body moves in space and what those habits, those habitual movement patterns that may exist for you, that will, as you start to bring yourself back to optimal alignment. Oftentimes when I work with clients, if they're struggling deeply with low back pain and chronic back pain, when we do these types of exercises and bring the body back to optimal blueprint, we're able to eliminate that experience.
Yeah, really you simply your post. I think I did a video. It wasn't about your feet, which is in there. Like, it's good. It's how you walk and stuff like that. But your posture is so important. It's like a machine. If you're like a piece of the machine is not well, like it's not tight, it's loose, the machine is not going to work properly. So our body too, if you align your body, you have the right posture, the right alignment, your body's going to perform better. So this is a very good exercise. You have to share the picture though, like how to put the feet, because I want to do it. Share a picture of your feet.
You know what? I'll do a little. I'll do in the next few days. I'll do a little live on it.
Perfect.
And take you guys through sort of structuring your Tadasana in your body. But yeah, it's good work, right? And again, this is, when you think of it, everything we've talked about really comes down to practicing with awareness and intention, and really inspiring deeper connections so that we can empower mindful, purposeful action that serves us well and compels us towards our optimal state of being.
Yes,
love it. That's what it is. Yeah, me too. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I literally loved having, it's like I know you forever. Like, I don't know if it felt that way.
I do feel that way. That's when you reached out, I was like, yes, of course, let's do this. Like, why haven't we done this sooner?
I know. And I just learned so much. And believe me, I just want to learn some. I even skip some stuff, but I maybe we can do another one. Like, maybe you can give, yes, we can do like a live, but let's do it like later.
Absolutely.
Because when people is not working,
I know.
But I believe if you do a live and you just guide us on those stuff, like the grocery stuff, exercise, I will love it. Like, just tell me when, and we will do it.
But thank you to do it.
Yes, Trevor. Thank you for arranging this talk, and you're welcome. Thank you for being here. But I promise you guys, she's gonna be back, and you better be in comfy clothes and maybe your mat, so she can give us a little bit of a taste of her classes. And I'm gonna share her link on the comments, and I'm gonna share this on my Instagram too. Please follow her, connect with her. She's so beautiful. It's like you know her forever, so don't hesitate. Check out her website. I'm gonna share it there too. I think it's the same way. The website you have on your Instagram is your main classes.
Everything's just Julie Thayer Yoga. Julie Thayer Yoga. It's pretty straightforward, and and just feel free. An invitation to direct message me if something in particular resonated with you today and you'd like a little bit more clarification. Please reach out. I would love to exchange messages with you and help you understand a concept a little more deeply if that's helpful for you. So I am here, and more than happy to hear from any of you. And I thank you so much for for your time and your energy and your participation and presence in this call. And Deni, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank
really
you.
such an honor to hang out with you and have this
I know.
conversation. And I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, we will do it again. I will message you so we can set a time for the class.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, and thank you again.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.